Welcome to our video from science fiction to reality. New technology and concepts have always found inspiration in science fiction. But did you realize that a lot of the futuristic ideas depicted in science fiction have already materialized? Many of the technologies we employ today, from teleportation and self-driving vehicles to smartwatches and virtual assistants, were previously dismissed as the stuff of science fiction. In this video, we'll examine some of the most well-known science fiction ideas and demonstrate how contemporary technology has brought them to reality. So take a seat back, unwind, and explore with us how science fiction became a reality. Smartwatches. In the 1930s, the Dick Tracy comic strip introduced the concept of a smartwatch, a device worn on the wrist that can display information, make phone calls, and perform other duties. But it wasn't until the 2010s that smartwatches like the Apple Watch and Samsung Galaxy Watch were made and put on the market. Virtual assistants. The idea of a personal assistant in the form of artificial intelligence has been depicted in a variety of science fiction books and films, including the Star Trek series. However, virtual assistants such as Apple's Siri and Amazon's Alexa become available to all not before the 2010s. Teleportation. Science fiction has frequently featured the idea of teleportation, or the instantaneous transport of matter from one location to another. But recent developments in quantum physics have given the prospect of teleportation considerable scientific consideration. Drones. Since the 1930s, writers and filmmakers have imagined what unmanned aerial vehicles, sometimes known as drones, would look like. For example, in the movie Things to Come. However, drones were not widely available until the 2000s, when the DJI Phantom and other drones were introduced. Augmented reality. In the 1960s, literature and film introduced the concept of overlaying digital information onto the real visible world, known as augmented reality. But it only became really available to the consumers in the 2010s after the release of smartphones and tablets with built-in features, augmented reality capabilities. Self-driving cars. As early as the 20s, the idea of self-driving cars appeared in science fiction stories and movies such as the movie Metropolis. But it was only in the last few years that self-driving cars became a reality thanks to the development of advanced artificial intelligence techniques and sensors. Robotics. Early as the 1920s, for example in the play RUR, but only in recent years robotics has become widespread in various fields such as manufacturing and healthcare. 3D printing. The idea of printing physical objects from digital designs has been introduced in literature and film in the 1980s, such as Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, but 3D printing technology only became available to consumers 35 years later. Virtual reality. The idea of involving users in computer-generated environments known as virtual reality has been described in literature and films since the 1960s, like in the film The Lawnmower Man. But it's only in recent years virtual reality has become widely available to regular users, only after the release of virtual reality headsets such as the Oculus and PlayStation VR. Artificial intelligence. Machines performing tasks that always required human intelligence, AI with visual perception, speech recognition, and decision-making, were introduced in literature and film as early as the 1920s, such as in the play RUR, but only lately has artificial intelligence been widely used in various industries and consumer products, such as smartphones, personal assistants, and household appliances. Mobile phones. In the 1920s, literature and motion pictures already showed the idea of mobile phones, devices that can make phone calls and send messages without being linked to a line, such as in the movie Doomed to Die, which included a wireless telephone. The Motorola Dynatac 8000X and other early mobile phones were released in the 1980s, but it wasn't until then that mobile phones were readily accessible for consumer use. Since then, mobile phones have developed to offer so many services, like easy internet access, a camera, GPS for navigation and maps for driving, banking, payment services, and more. With an estimated 5 billion people throughout the world possessing a mobile phone, mobile phones have evolved into a technology that is almost universal. We hope you had fun watching these once futuristic ideas that are now part of our everyday lives. Whatever the future contains, we can rest assured that science fiction will remain a fertile source of ideas and innovations that will shape it. Thank you for watching.